All right, awesome. Why don't
you.
we move over to the front? We'll get some color bowls going. What we do for container gardening, we've got a few different methods that we'll show you. So I don't think people appreciate bulbs as much as they should because of that spring color that you're getting early season, but especially in containers. It's not something that's is as common, should I say. And so we're going to show you some methods that we really like to use in making a container bulb garden. Some people, they just don't have the space in the ground, or if they're having problem with squirrels or voles eating the bulbs. This is a great way to keep this up on your deck. You can, I mean, these containers are really pretty. You can just pick your container out and fill it up with dirt. So we're going to show you how we do it, a couple different methods that we do. One of them being single planting, and then one of them being lasagna layering. And I'll get into that. I know it sounds pretty interesting, and I get hungry thinking about it, but it's actually for bulbs, not eating.
Okay,
so.
Garfield.
All right, yeah. So why don't we go ahead? We're using Fertilum. When it comes to bulbs, you want to make sure that you are using something that's pretty loamy, because you don't want your bulbs to be in a soggy area, or else they can start to rot. You just don't want to do that. So you do want something loamy. And then when it comes to watering.
What do you mean when you say loamy?
That's a good question. So loamy, you don't want something that compacts, kind of like, you know, clay. Clay is not loamy. It compacts really hard, holds higher water retention. This Fertilum right here, it's nice and airy and breathable. The peat moss in it and the perlite in it, that allows for it to have that kind of loamy texture. The peat moss retains water, but doesn't allow for root rot. And then your perlite will help for the aeration in your soil. And so I really like this because it's loamy. You're going to get good drainage, but it still stays moist.
Wonderful.
Most of your bulbs, they don't like wet feet, so you don't want them in a really wet area.
Me neither.
Yeah. Sometimes we're working here at the nursery.
You get soggy socks.
And the worst thing is soggy socks, no kidding. So let's go ahead and fill both of these up about 6 inches from the top.
Okay.
When it comes to container gardening, like we were talking about earlier, we're going to throw all of our spacing out the window. The reason being is because if we go by spacing, really for this pot, we're probably only going to get 3 tulip flowers that will be in this pot. If you're planting in the ground or in a flower bed, it is different. You have the space and it looks more full if you're covering a bigger area. But we kind of like to throw that out the window because in containers, you really do want a full container, so you really get to enjoy it. And your bulbs will be just fine going a little bit closer to each other. All right, let's get you another scoop in there.
Thank you.
Maybe one more.
Right.
Okay, so we've got both of our containers. Why don't we start with that one over there?
Okay.
We're gonna press this down just a little bit because we're not watering it right now. So in our container, we're about 6 inches, around 6 inches from the top. That's where our bulbs are gonna be planted. And so in one of these, we can just do single.
Okay.
We've got this, actually I'm gonna grab one of these over here.
Yeah.
This is actually I'm gonna bring this up to the camera. This is a daffodil, and I've never seen anything like this, and so I had to get these.
It's gorgeous.
But it's kind of double, it's double flowered, and then it has multiple blooms on one head. Rather, most of your daffodils, they just have a single flower that comes up. This one I really liked. So your planting depth on this is 6 inches from the top. And so you do want a little bit of headway, so that way when you water, you're not gonna have runoff on the water, and it's gonna sink into the pot. So why don't you go ahead and do these. Our spacing on these, I believe our spacing is 6 inches, but again, if we go off of 6 inches, we're not really going to be able to enjoy this in the spring as much as we'd like to. And so we're probably actually going to plant our bulbs probably 1 inch to 2 inches apart from each other, side to side.
And one thing we want to talk about with our container gardens is that when you do water these in, with containers, since it's not going to stay in the
Yeah.
earth, the nutrients will eventually wash out with your water. So
Yeah.
it's really important that we supplement with some plant food. And we like this biotone.
I couldn't agree more with you.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So we place that in the bottom of the hole that we dig,
Yeah.
that the bulb will then sit on top of.
Why don't you
It
go ahead
kinda
and
just
sprinkle
gives it
some over the top there.
a nice little boost in nutrients. So it's going to have some really good texture to it, and it's just a lot of different fungi and bacillus that'll facilitate good growth for the plant bulbs.
Yeah. And this will take you can actually go a little bit heavy on this because it's going to take a while for this to break down before we get our blooms, so you really don't have to worry about burning.
Yeah.
Okay. So on your daffodils, like I said, I'm going to probably plant these about 1 inch to 2 inches apart, and I'm actually going to go ahead and fill this up. There we go. Here, do you want to get some more daffodils over there?
Yeah, definitely. The
pack
golden
this
pearl.
up.
So we're going to have a little pop of yellow along with the pretty double whites. And again, we're just focusing on keeping the bulb facing up when we do so. Container gardening's fun because you can do it.
And again, this is
Anywhere.
going to help, so this is much fuller in the spring, so that way you're not disappointed when it comes up because you're going by the spacing on the recommended spacing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty good. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We actually have 10 bulbs in here. You can take a look. Versus getting 3 in there, getting 10 is a lot better because we'll have a much fuller container when it comes to spring. And trust me, you'll be thanking me when the spring comes around.
Oh wow, container gardening's so easy too. You don't have to even dig in because you're just layering on that top soil. Since we went 6 inches down, now we're just filling over top. Super fast and easy.
Right on. So you're gonna mist these down. Again, you really don't want heavily wet containers through the entire fall and winter. And so your watering is going to be pretty minimal on these. You really want to wait until they're almost completely dry to water. If we have a drier, cold winter, keep an eye on it. You can also just set these in your garage if you wanted to on your container and just water as needed. It's okay with it being dark because these are bulbs. And then just setting it out earlier in spring so that way they know kind of late winter, early spring. Go ahead and set these out outside, and that will help. Now our next method I like to call lasagna
Oh, fun. Let's hear
planting
about it.
or layering.
Yes.
And so basically the idea is you have different bulbs that bloom at different times. And so you have tulips, you have daffodils, maybe crocus, and there's different things that we can use, but why don't we stick with those ones? So daffodil, tulips, we've got these beautiful red tulips and this kind of yellow tulip. We can do a mixture of these tulips. So perfect, we'll go ahead and fertilize.
Just gonna fertilize again with a little bit more.
So this is also succession planting because each one is going to bloom at a different time. So that way you can enjoy your container a whole lot longer. So starting with your farthest depth, which is going to be your daffodils and your tulips, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to layer those in here. So this one is a purple Prince tulip that's really pretty, a nice kind of royal purple color. Just gonna dump these out here. These ones we're gonna go pretty close to each other. So the idea of the layering or lasagna planter is that you have the succession of them coming up, and you're also gonna layer these bulbs on top of each other. So the first that's probably gonna come up is a crocus, and then after that, your daffodils are gonna bloom, and then after your daffodils are bloomed, then your tulips are gonna come up and bloom right after that. So you have a longer bloom time, and they're planted right on top of each other. You also have a really full planter. And as those next things bloom in the spring, you're just gonna cut off the old flower heads. You can actually leave the green growth because it makes it look a lot fuller. So I'm just gonna plant these in here. There's quite a few bulbs. This is gonna be a very full container. Okay, what do you got there?
I can do some crocus. These are some more tulips though. What you like? I'll do some of that layering we were talking about.
Let me take a couple of these other ones out of here so we get more color in there.
Yeah, I can.
So the crocus will actually wet on those, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because we'll get a little bit more dirt going in there.
And then we'll lasagna them.
Yep.
In. Okay.
So we're gonna put a little bit of dirt on here, and then let's go ahead and put the daffodils. Go ahead and plant your daffodils in there. So that's why it's called lasagna layering, because we put some bulbs in at their depth. We put a little bit of dirt over the top, and then we put more bulbs in on top of that. They will grow around those other bulbs, so I'm not too worried about that. Perfect. Awesome. I'm gonna get more soil in there. Okay, now we can put the crocus in there, just on the top there.
Again, just keeping those little stems pointed upwards. And then that plant tone, since we fertilized that bottom layer, should be good to go all the way through.
Awesome.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, and a few more tulips on top.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? I love it.
This container is going to be so full.
Just like lasagna, it always needs a little extra cheese.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, that's good, right?
Yeah. One more.
Okay. We're just going to cover this up. Then again, you're just going to mist these in. And you have 2 ways. I think we should give an update on these in the spring.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
That was fun. Thank you for teaching me how to do that.
All right, absolutely.